Hello, everybody. It is not August 14th. I am officially 65, and one day it's not my birthday. I'm going to tell you guys a couple of stories. We're going to play some songs. We're going to have a good time because just that's what I do. Um, my birthday, I was turning 35, and I had gone to my parents' house in Brooklyn, and my father wasn't feeling well. My mother said, he was thrashing around in bed. And I said, Ma, too much information. I really said that to her. Can you imagine? Daddy has the flu, but he has his well care visit at the VA hospital Wednesday. And this is like Monday afternoon. I go there Tuesday and laying in bed. Wednesday morning, my son at that point is like 15, 16 months old. And my mother-in-law at the time used to watch my son. I'd work from the house 3 days a week. I'd work from the house. The phone rings at 8 in the morning. It's my mother's ring. I figured, happy birthday. Your dad really wants you to take him to the hospital. Call my mother-in-law at the time. I was 10 minutes away. I'm out of the shower already. Just got Vinny dressed. I got to Brooklyn within an hour. My father was waiting outside with my mother. I get there by the car. And it was a hot day. It was August 14th, my birthday. And he said, can you put the air conditioner on? And he was having a hard time breathing. Get him to the ER of the VA hospital, Fort Hamilton, which was like a 10-minute drive from the house. And he plops in the chair. They come out and say he's in the middle of a massive heart attack. I said, what do you mean? He had been having one for a couple of days. And because he had had a stroke in the past, they couldn't give him the heparin shot because he had had a bleeding stroke. And you'll bleed out evidently. So by the all said and done, the heart muscle, 80% was shot. And I remember these new big screens were coming out. This is August, on the Saturday, August 17th. The Gotti movie, when I'm on the Sunday, was on HBO. And I went up there and I showed him these magazine with big screens because my father, I told you, 2 VCRs, always going very into that. I said, I'm going to get you this when you get out. He started crying, I think, because he knew. He took the oxygen mask off and he went, this is no stroke. Like about 10 p.m. on Saturday night, I had VCR'd the Gotti movie. I didn't see it live. I walk out and I take his foot and go, I'll see you tomorrow. And he goes like this. He goes, take care of your mother. I got the call at 2:30 in the morning that he passed away. And oh, thank you, William. I'm just seeing there now. Thank you. So that's what I remember on my birthday. And my dad was gracious enough not to pass away on my birthday. He waited 4 days. But it was rough. And I remember in the 80s, I used to bounce at this club Shout, all 50s, 60s music. But the DJ Elliot really liked me because I used to set him up with guys like downstairs. So I said to him once, can you just play this song for me? So anytime I walked in, this was the song he played for me because this was my favorite song.
Some of you older kids may remember this. About 15 years ago, as a matter of fact, I was in a band called the New York Dolls. Now look at some of these outfits. I mean, we used to wear some really outrageous clothes. You know, these heavy metal bands in LA don't have the market cornered on wearing their mother's clothes. So now, like, I'm into this really refined and dignified kind of a situation. I'm playing music that's so soft and sweet. I mean, you can sit by the fireplace and listen to it. You can have a little glass of wine, maybe, or you could even have dinner with this music. Come on, I'll show you.
Remember 1987, how big this was, this song?
What to do on a night like this? Music sweet, I can't resist. We need a party sound. A fundamental jam. So we got bum bum bum. Yeah, we got bum bum bum. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Oh Lord. See people rocking, hear people chanting, feeling hot, hot, hot. Keep up the spirit, come on, let's do it, feeling hot, hot, hot. It's in the air, celebration time. Music sweet, captivate your mind. We have this party song, this fundamental jam. So we got a bum bum bum. Yeah, we got a bum bum bum. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Remember La Bamba? That came out 87, the movie.
Una poca de gracia pa' mi patria, y arriba, ay arriba, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Yo no soy marinero, soy capitán.
So 87 was a big year. And, being 26 and bouncing in a club, you got it all, right? The 80s, fabulous 80s. It was like our 60s. And when I teach my class about the 60s, the transformative decade of the 60s, turbulence and all that, I often state that the 80s, for me, was my 60s. We didn't have the assassinations that they had in the 60s, the civil rights uprising. But what we did have was HIV. We grew up very quickly in the 80s, and it was the decade of causes, right? Live Aid. Do They Know It's Christmas? Remember that? And the 80s was unbelievable. And I remember being in my 20s in the 80s. I understood a lot. I don't know why, because I was an immature kid. Even in my 20s, I was immature. I could be mature. My dad was ill since I was like 14 or 15. So there were times I could put on the brave man face, But other than that, I wanted to go out and have a good time like everybody else. And I think really because of my dad being ill and I was young, always worrying about it, I think I did escape maybe a little more in my 20s and felt that I lost out on a lot of the carefree 14, 15-year-old days. So maybe I made up for it a bit. Could be. But I just, if you would have told me now, remember back then and You thought you had all the answers. If you told me that now, I'd say, yeah, you're right. I thought I did. I remember I had a friend, Robert, who was a junket rep. Remember, I used to go Puerto Rico and Aruba and all that. He'd send players and I'd help him. And I remember I always got confused with the Bell Parkway. And he said, just remember, Jerry West plays at the Garden. So the Bell Parkway West, the Garden. And I remember coming back from Atlantic City. I was in my early 20s. This is in the early 80s. And I remember him saying, just think one day, a little Vinny running around. Well, now he's 31. But he was right. And he never got married, my friend. And he's out in Florida now. And I think about those times. I'll tell you something I did. Let me put the air on, but I'm going to tell you something I did. And you tell me if this is just going crazy because I'm getting older. Because I think it is. For some reason, I was looking at my old teachers from high school. And one in particular, I think I told you guys a story, Mr. Pultman. Manuel Pultman. Looking up on teachers and school sites, Lafayette, and Mr. Pultman is still alive. He's about 89 now. And lives in Brooklyn. And I remember distinctly him leaving for a couple of weeks during the school session. His father had died and he came back with a beard, and he had told us how when you mourn in the Jewish faith, you grow a beard and all that. And he was a history teacher, took a course, the Holocaust, where he set up the projector in the middle of the room between the desks. And we'd watch a half hour of Anne Frank and stuff like that. I mean, it was terrible. And I almost felt, God forgive me, I almost felt his phone number's listed. I almost felt like calling him and saying, Mr. Pultman, you're not going to remember me, but in 1978, I was in your class in Lafayette, and you were one of the teachers that I remember most fondly because I took the Holocaust with you. And it left such an impression on me. And I remember when your father passed and you came back with a beard and none of us knew why. And I just wanted to say that after almost 50 years, you have a student who is now 65 who wanted to say thank you. A little creepy, right? I shouldn't do it. But I really do want to do it. I truly do. Live at 65. New chapters can be written at any time. A new chapter can come to you very quickly, like a song. I could 2 minutes write a song. And sometimes I struggle with it. Sometimes a new chapter is staring you head on. And you're staring back, not sure what you see, but you know you see something. You can't make it out. You don't have your glasses on. And that's what happened today. Convenient, right? Turning 65 today and then all of a sudden having an epiphany. Well, yeah, because my friend Mitch, who has cancer, had to have all his teeth pulled because of a terrible infection. I can't tell you. He sent me the picture of what he looks like. His lip is swollen about 10 times of the size. It looks like he got hit with a bat. And he's gone through a very tough since January 25 when he was diagnosed. And you lose people. There's someone on here that was very dear to me, Joe Cotrain. Always would come into the chat. We'd talk. We met. He's from Massachusetts. In the last 8 months, he's disappeared. I've called his cell phone. I didn't have a fight with him. No one's seen him in any other chats. And isn't it amazing that I'm rooting that he got arrested? Because that would mean he's alive. Isn't that terrible? It means so much. I left a message on his phone. Still has the number. I can't imagine he's not talking to me. And I just hope he's okay. So interesting things when you get a little older. I cut myself here. You see it? A little too much. Things mean not what you would expect them to mean at this age. I took on a new show, karaoke show. I hadn't done it in years. Not running to the past. I'm embracing it. I'm not looking back in the rearview mirror staring, so I hit something in the front. I'm just admiring the change of leaves in the rear view. And there's no one in front of me, so I'm not going to hit anybody. I'm realizing that life is pretty cool. It is. You know, I'm a life and health coach licensed. And I have some students, about 14 of them now. And I do a module for 6 weeks, or I meet them one-on-one. If they're within 15 miles, I'll meet them, or I do it on Zoom or FaceTime, whatever they want to do. And to hear other people and to hear what other people worry about. We all catastrophize different things. What might be very, very important to you may be important to me, but not of consequence where it will be life or death in that frame of mind, you know. And I look at things now and I say, okay, what would I really do over if I had a do-over? What do you really regret? And I think you regret the things you didn't do more than the things you did. I think that's just human nature. We are people that need answers. We need answers immediately. Now, I can give you an example. I call Bayonet. And say, you wouldn't believe what happened. You wouldn't believe. You know what? I'll tell you tomorrow. What, Vin? Come on, don't do that to me. We have to know immediately. And generally speaking, we figure it's not good news. Because what could be good, right? Plenty is good. But we automatically gravitate toward the, oh no, what? And we are immediate people. We need answers immediately. Yesterday. And why? What is so important that it can't wait? Right? And when you get older, you realize that it's okay to take a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon. You're not going to get in trouble for it anymore. No one's going to think you're lazy anymore. if you take a nap at 2:30, you're allowed. Or maybe, what's that name? Oh, come on, you know it. Well, now it's like, you help the person with it. Doesn't mean that you're old. It means that you're older. And with that comes a certain responsibility. A responsibility to act your age, to be able to give fairly good advice. We're compilers. In baseball, a player like Harold Baines plays 20 plus years in the major leagues. Of course, he's going to have X amount of hits. He's played that long. Do you give someone credit for longevity? I guess. Do we get? I remember when I turned 50, I had my midlife crisis around 48, believe it or not. When I turned 50, I remember someone told me, oh, it's an achievement. Oh, what do you mean it's an achievement? There are homeless people, drug addicts, and criminals. What did they achieve? They're 50. They just happen to not die. They didn't achieve anything. They just didn't die. That's not an achievement. Last I looked, you don't have the book. Oh, it's my turn. Right? But now it's 65. I think of the 50th birthday I had. Big party. And I look at it. I can't remember what I thought. I truly can't. Beats me. Probably something similar to this. The only difference was I thought I had more time. Because I did. At 50, you probably have 30-something years if you live the right way. Here, I've lost a lot of people that were 2 years younger than me. So you start worrying about that Grim Reaper, and you start believing in Father Time. You start understanding why people, I remember when I was younger, every day above ground's a good day. The fuck does that mean? Now I know why people say it. Remember when you were younger, people would say that? You say, what are they talking about? Kind of right. It's I don't know. I did a lot of thinking today. I didn't do much. You know, I enjoy the Met casts. I do. They help me get through a very rough season with friends that are going through similar emotional turbulence. And I think it's really cool to get angry and to really pick it apart. You know, that's the difference. When you do the Met post games like I do, I'm forced to take note of it a little more. You know, you can, if the Mets are losing 9-1 in the fourth inning, turn it off, and you have no idea if Lindor hit, if the final was 11-5, how'd they get the other runs? Did Lindor hit 2 homers? You didn't care. Now, it forces me to be more cognizant of what is going on every inning. Tracking Benj and Ewing and some of the young players. How did they do in this 9-1 loss or 9-1 win? How did the young, totally revamped relief pitching do in the game? Are there signs that we might be okay next year? Or do we really have to revamp this whole bullpen that's here now? And I'm sure a lot of it will be revamped. It makes me pay attention more. And paying attention, it's a good thing. Because I've become a different type of fan doing the post game on here. I've become a fan that sees the blatant misuse of players like Ewing not playing center field. It aggravates me more now than it would if I was just a regular fan not talking about it all the time. It makes me understand that you can really live and die with your sports team, which I have. And I mean, it can be brutal. Now, I'm not a basketball fan really. I was glad the Knicks won, but I'm not a football fan really. Rangers and Rangers and Mets for me. So I get a break. I have just enough to get me through summer and winter. I only concentrate on one team. Can you imagine if you really love all the teams? Oh my God, from the Jets to the Rangers and Mets. I don't have that. I can concentrate on the Mets until it's time not to concentrate on the Mets. Then by September, training camp for the Rangers, and first week of October, baseball's been gone a week to 10 days, and the hockey starts. And you throw yourself into the fandom of a totally different sport. It's a totally different setting, totally different atmosphere. Being a hockey fan, you're indoors instead of outdoors, skate, nothing, no commonality with baseball. And it gets you through. And the first hint, right after New Year's, a couple of weeks after New Year's, still cold as a bitch, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you've heard it how many times? Pitchers and catchers report 12 days, right? February, a brutal month for some. You're thinking about pitchers and catchers reporting. So even though you're sitting here 9 degrees outside, miserable, you can just go on Google or pick up the back page if you read a hard copy and see what the Mets are doing in Florida. And baseball is only 6 weeks away. And I remember when I was 16, next door neighbors in the apartment building I lived, they were about 10 years my parents' junior, Philip and Rebecca. They didn't have any children. They weren't even married at that time, just living together. They used to come next door to us, hang out with my parents, have coffee, whatever. I used to take a walk like at 11 o'clock at night with him, 4 blocks to 20th Avenue and 86th Street, and buy the Night Owl. That was the early Sunday edition. I used to love the sports section. It had every player listed, their batting average and all that, National and American League. And I looked forward, and I'd have a chocolate egg cream. I looked forward to that walk, 15-minute walk, 2:15, dicking around there, maybe look at the magazines. We'd be gone an hour. I'd be talking to him about girls. You know, you don't tell your father. He was probably about 28. And I was, 15, 16. And I remember how important that stuff was to me. The human connection, the connecting with somebody on a certain level. And I think this here is my walk to get the Night Owl on Saturday nights. The only difference is I do this every night, for the most part. You guys are all the stats in the paper. You're every baseball player that I just, even players that I don't root for, I just look at the stats. You give me a defined purpose and I enjoy it. I've met really wonderful friends that I've socialized with from here, that I've texted and talked to. And with the Mets, we have a common hurt right now. It's the disappointment of a season that we were like the third favorite to win the World Series. We were, if you asked 10 columnists, 5 probably had us winning the division, the 5 like the 3 like the Braves, and 2 like the Phillies. The Braves were coming off an injury-riddled year last year. No one was sure about them, and Philly got a little old, and they weren't sure about their makeup. Maybe this is their last hurrah. People were excited about the Mets. I was. I thought we really had a shot. And when we got out of the gate, I think we were 7-3 and leading a game that we lost to push us to 7-4 instead of 8-3. And we were doing great. First game of the season, we handed Paul Skeens, the odds-on favorite to win the Cy Young Award, the worst beating of his life. We waited out pitches. This was the lineup that David Stearns promised us. Tougher at bats, making more contact. We did it all. Game 1. And boy, how, like health, can things change on a dime. And we've been sitting here for 2 months with no season other than the rookies to root for. You know you're getting a bit older when you're not even gloating that Judge is out and Stanton's out and the Yankees might not win it. You don't care. It has nothing to do with that. Finally, who cares? The Mets aren't the Yankees aren't my business. I don't care what they do. Would I prefer them not to win? Yeah, of course. But I don't care. I care about what the Mets are doing. And that's a sign of maturity. Not saying I'm mature, because I'm not. But I'm giving myself a break. You know, I knew 65 would come. I was hoping it did. Everyone in my family, my younger sister Adeline, she died 19 years ago at 39 years of age. My other sister Nancy, 11 months my junior, we were very close. 9 years ago, she died at 54. My father died 2 weeks after his 59th birthday. And my mother died before hitting 61 of cancer. When I got to 59, I got real nervous. And sometimes I think I'm living on borrowed time. Because I've outlived them all a few years now. And if you would have told me in 1974, when I was in 7th grade, if you would have sat me down and said, I just want to tell you, your mom and dad are going to die. You're going to be in your 30s. And even worse, your 2 sisters. First, I wouldn't have believed that you knew, but I wouldn't have believed that that's possible. I'm going to be an orphan so young. And sometimes I felt that way. And you guys have made me feel so much better. So, with my life and health coaching, I tell my students this, and I hope you take this free advice. The only way that you can be special is by just being yourself. Because, in and of itself, you're going to act differently every day because your moods change and you're not going to be a robot. Anybody can play a role on a stage. People win Oscars doing it. Just be you. And if you aren't good enough for the people around you, maybe it's just time to find a new audience and not worry about making them happy. Because I love you guys just the way you are. And thank you for always tuning in. Please hit the like and subscribe if you haven't. And I really appreciate you guys. And I will be here tomorrow for you with the New York Mets. Until then, thank you for celebrating my birthday with me. Thank you for the cash apps you sent. It was very, very nice of you. And God bless you guys. I'll see you soon.